Hey there, my beautiful friends, and welcome. Always awesome to be with you, and beautiful Sunday here in the fall time. Absolutely amazing. Today we're going to talk about building confidence and not arrogance, and building confidence quickly and efficiently to where we can learn and grow and be confident, and we can help other people and not be so easily swayed or injured or feel attacked. Instead, that we can be confident in our positions and we can grow. The more confident you are, the quicker we can grow, the quicker everything works better. So if I were to ask you to define what confidence is, what would you say to me? Well, everyone out there would probably say, that means unflappable. Well, probably nobody would use the word unflappable but me. But anyway, so what would you say that it means to be confident? So people often get confidence and arrogance mixed up. When you see somebody that's really confident, it can be actually slightly take you back a little bit. And also, it's easy for some people to go from confidence to arrogance, right? You can do something really well and you are looked at other people that can't do it as well. That is not the teaching mindset, and that is not a growth mindset. You can become very successful that way. You see many boxers that are that way, or MMA fighters. At least they put on that air where I'm the champ and I'm going to beat everybody. I understand that you have to have some of that bravado, and it's also very entertaining, and I'm okay with it. But we also need to have humility at the same time. So one of the differences that I would say is that when you are confident, you have knowledge, you have skill, and with it comes a confidence and a humility that you're willing to teach somebody else or share it with somebody else. When you meet a very wise person, when you meet a very wise person, they tend to be pretty calm. And you can throw a question at them and they may even cross their leg and look at you and listen. Psychiatrists are this way, especially if they've been doing it for 20 or 30 years. They've heard many of these stories and they have confidence in what they're doing. They're not generally arrogant in any way, shape, or form because they want to help you. And there's a humility when you've done something a lot to know that, especially as a counselor or psychiatrist, you know that a lot of the work has to do with the person that's sitting across from you. So believing that you're good at something and not being good at, that's kind of confidence, but then that leads to arrogance or ignorance, one or the other. So believing that you're good at something doesn't make it so. But also, somebody that does something differently than you and they have confidence and you don't like it, doesn't mean that they shouldn't be confident and that they're at a different place than you, or maybe they've had a different life experience than you. Some people may think because of their upbringing that all men are horrible, which if certain things happen to you as a child or as an adult, even you might have that perception, and because of trauma that's happened in your life, and that's understandable. One thing you generally learn as you get older is that there are many gray areas. I was much more black and white when I was younger, and now I see a lot more gray, and it's a lot easier, and I'm not just talking about bald head, but I'm saying that there's a lot more gray in the world, and the phrase that life has many gray areas, and there's much room for many truths. So how do you build confidence without becoming arrogant? Or exercise judgment without condemnation? And when does it even matter? What does it matter that whether you're confident or arrogant? And I know this video is about building confidence, and I'm getting there. Because confidence is really, really just knowledge, or it is knowledge. It's either you've learned something over and over and over again that you're so good at it that you're confident that it's the right way, or at least it's your way and it works for you. And if you tie that with humility, that's what I'm looking for. I believe that you can have confidence without humility and it turns into arrogance, and it's not very helpful. So if you're one that suffers with insecurity and you think, some of that might be that, I can't become too confident because then I'll be arrogant and I'm not really that sure of myself. Well, the truth is that the more that you learn, the more that you grow, and the more that you're confident enough to where when somebody challenges you or asks you to do something, you can do it with confidence or with skill. You are competent and you become more confident in yourself, self-assured, self-esteem. So that's where we go back to some of the original things that I talked about in these videos, the growth mindset. The growth mindset tells us that we are here to learn, and there's almost nothing we can't learn. And in the growth mindset also, failure or mistake is simply a learning tool. It's not a personal destructive thing. So when you make a mistake, you go, oh, well, I've made that mistake 2 or 3 times, so I'm learning I don't do that. And then you learn I don't have to do that anymore. You figure out a better way, you solve that problem. You become more confident, more better at what you're doing. And then once you have this skill in the growth mindset, you're obligated to share that with other people. And that brings with it a certain level of humility, right? So we build confidence, we build skill, and then we use that to lift up the world around us. And we become more and more together, more symbiotic, which is, of course, one of my favorite words. Life becomes more symbiotic. Your family does, everyone does. Then when somebody challenges you, you're this or you're that, you don't know what you're doing. And you go, well, I feel like I do know what I'm doing, but what exactly are you talking about? Well, I will think about that. I know this much, and if that's true, I will grow even more. And so growth mindset makes you almost unbreakable if you're willing to really embrace it and live that lifestyle. When you get to the point where you have a skill, have a knowledge, and you're sharing with people, and then you become like the counselor where everything becomes a teaching opportunity, either for you or for them, because you have a growth mindset. If they know something that you want, that they have that you don't have, you want to know it, right? And if you have something to share, you're going to share it in a way to lift them up, not to control them subtly or unsubtly. You have to be honest. And I think that honesty, I always say 98% honest, we have to be honest with each other in every aspect of our life. Now, timing is important too, and we all have to grow in wisdom as far as what timing to be important. But if you meet somebody that has a poor decision-making process, maybe towards what they're eating, and you think, that's not going to go well. I mean, they're 20 years old and they're thin, but by the time they get 40 years old, that's going to start not working for them. And so you can be arrogant about it, or you can be mean, or you can be an example of a healthy 40-year-old, whatever that means, within reason. And they'll see that, and hopefully when you have these conversations about food, you don't just pick at them. Well, are you sure you want to eat that? That's bad for you, blah, 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 blah. And you pick at them. Instead of just being honest and say, I used to eat like that, and after a while, it didn't work well with me, so now I eat this way. And if you have humility, you can say, but I also eat ice cream when I want to too, you know. So it's about being honest. You don't have to guard yourself. We'll say, well, you eat ice cream. It's like, yeah, I make that decision. That may not be a great decision because of how often I do it, but I do it. A little bit on the controversial side is that I think that confidence also comes with living in sync with creation, with the creation, with the universe. And that can mean a lot of things to everybody. It means different things to everybody. But the truth is that life goes much easier when you swim with the river, that you swim with the tide. You know, you don't fight the tide. You go around it. You get to where you need to go. There's a rip tide. And I've used that example before. But you don't fight the rip tide. You go along the beach for a while and then you go in before you get tired and drown. So being in sync with the universe, I believe that's the growth mindset and the community mindset. I'm a very introverted person, so my community is very, very small. But it is important that we are wanting to bring the community together. And the only way you're going to bring the community together is to talk. If we divide, argue, and are arrogant, we'll never be together. And the truth is that the more people you have that are ignorant in a culture, in a society, in a tribe, if you will, that is just asking for a leader to come along and stand up in front of these people and say, I know the way. All we have to do is get those people. And you create all these enemies and all that sort of thing. And I know this is not really on the topic of what we're talking about here, but it all blends together. And I think that being on this earth, we want to be together somehow. We all get angry from time to time. We all get frustrated. We all have our opinions. We all think we know how it should be. But we need to learn humility and gain knowledge. So remember, arrogance is negative often, condemning people, judging people who struggle. Growth mindset tells us to always learn, always know that failure is just a teaching tool, and using that knowledge to uplift as many people as possible. As you can give them, you, everyone, the best life possible. We want to lift each other up. We want to grow, be strong and confident. You can be confident, but you have to tie knowledge with humility. Knowledge, humility, right? And you will be confident. Learn, always learn, okay? Awesome being with you guys, and I love you. God bless. All the love, all the power. Yes.